Hi guys, this is Nikki Yu, also known as Facelesstrader, and you are here to watch the awesome 10x 10 commandments. Let me start with my first 5. So the first commandment, my thou shall not version, is winners win. What does that mean? It means that if you have a Michael Jordan, if you have the greatest of all time stocks and you got it cheap, winners win. Because they will always become greater and greater and greater. In fact, what you might deem expensive before is going to be so cheap in the future because you have the greatest of all time. Can you imagine if you bought Amazon and Netflix when they were a decade ago or 2 decades ago? So it is well known that Amazon started 1997 as with ambition of selling books online. But today, Amazon is already a behemoth. It's the leader in e-commerce, in deliveries. They've got Amazon Prime shipping, one-day delivery. Of course, they've got the Amazon Web Services powering up all the cloud in the world. And you know, Jeff Bezos doesn't want to be number 2 or number 3. So they also have number 1, that is the Twitch gaming platform. Everyone who streams games online has it through Twitch. So what we're saying here is that the amazing Amazon is something that you yourself could have made money from. $3 to about $3,000, $3,300. That's 1,000x your money in just 23 years. Now you could say the same thing happening for the other e-commerce giants. Of course, for the Filipinos out there, we have been discussing C Limited, winners win. C Limited, the owner of your Shopee, Garena Free Fire, and all those things. The point here is that number 1 rule, winners win. If you have a winner, keep your winner because winners win. Okay, number 2 commandment, decades, not days. What does that mean? A lot of things that you can overestimate in a day is actually an underestimate in a decade. So what is the best example of that? Well, do you know the singers Harry Styles, Neil Horan, all of these One Directioners, of course, Zayn Malik. You could see that among the One Direction, 5 of them who are my favorites. But as you could see that they all auditioned on UK's X Factor. And Simon Cowell, which was just the judge, saw potential in the 5 of them and created One Direction. Of course, they are now solo artists. And you have seen how these guys came from audition to the big stars that they are today. So we overestimate a lot of the albums in a day, that it's too high already for a day, but we underestimate the potential of these great artists over a decade, especially for guys or for girls like Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande. There's always room. Okay, number 3 rule, there's always room for many winners. So that's why you have to diversify and diversify and diversify. We cannot overemphasize diversification. If you have a winner, chances are it belongs in a group of winners. So let's say I have an online education name, I have an online e-commerce name. Chances are in this online e-commerce, what's going well for Amazon in US is doing well for Alibaba, JD, Pinduoduo in China. It's also doing well for Mercado Libre in Latin America, also doing well for Ocado in UK, London, also doing well for C Limited, which is in Southeast Asia. So those are all great winners. Winners can coexist in a certain sector, and so we cannot overemphasize the definition of having many winners and not just one winner. We have to diversify not just in one sector, which is e-commerce, but also in multitude of secular trends. How many winners in the e-commerce space have made payments a great winner, such as the digitization of cashless transactions that happened for your Square, your PayPal, your StoneCo, your PagSeguro. So that is number 3 rule. The number 3 rule is that your winners have to be a diversified secular trend. So 4th commandment, it has to be a secular trend. What does a secular trend mean? Decades and decades and decades. We're talking about cloud computing growing 400% in the next decade. We're talking about video games growing another 500% from their current existing base of about 500 million gamers. We are seeing that the forecast for video games is going to be another 200 to 300% increase in the next decade. So we are going to see about 2 billion gamers in the next 5 to 10 years. In fact, Netflix knows this. Netflix even said that the biggest competition of streaming of the movies and the series isn't another HBO or it's not even Disney, but it's actually the video games. Their biggest competition is the fact that you are playing a lot of mobile games and video games. So the question is, the fourth commandment, are you in a secular trend? Am I early, or is it in a mature phase? How high is that secular trend gonna grow? The fifth, the last commandment for this speech is Tina, Tu, and Tam. What is that? What's Tina, what's Tu, and what's Tam? Tina means there is no alternative. TOO means the only one. TAM means the total addressable market. So ask yourself, is the company that I'm willing to marry and invest in, is it Tu, the only one? Is it my bae before anything else? Is it really my bae before anything else? I really want to have my Facebook. It's before anything else. Because you want to invest in companies that are your baes, your Tinas. There is no alternative. If I want to sell something online, where should I go? Should I sell it on Shopee? So is it the only one? Or is it no alternative? So sometimes there is no alternative. Could be 5 companies. It could be you could be selling it on your Facebook, Instagram. You could be using your Shopify stores. You could also be selling it in C Limited's Shopee or Alibaba's Lazada. The point is that these are companies that are oligopolistic, and you want to be the only one if there is a possibility, but or the only alternative. So there is no alternative. So Tina, Tu, and of course the total addressable market has to be big and big. So big becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. So it used to be that video games was just a niche, then it became more mainstream and more mainstream and more mainstream. So let's wrap it up. Winners win, decades not days. Cannot overemphasize diversification. Secular trend, is it early or mature? And last but not the least, is it a Tina, Tu, and Tam? Thank you very much, and do watch Awesome 10X and watch my 5 next 10X commandments. Thank you very much.